with that said, I'm going to ask the worship team to hit a pause and to make their way to their seats because we are shifting gears a little bit. We're not going to be going into a normal sermon as we would typically at this time of our service on a Sunday. If you've been attending with us for the last while, you know that today is our Legacy Vision Offering Day. This is extraordinary giving that people have been invited to consider, think about, pray about, talk to if they're married to their spouses about. There's no pressure, there's no manipulation. We're just simply seeing this as a day where we're drawing a line and encouraging people to either give or to pledge. And we'll give more information about that just now. But just to give you a quick overview, if you haven't been with us the last few weeks, currently we are serving about 150 to 200 children in our different environments on a Sunday. Most of those kids are in 2 environments, and we want to change that to 5 or 6 environments. We are purchasing or wanting to purchase. We might have to finance a chunk of it, but we're wanting to purchase some space next to where Kids Church is at the moment. And our architect has helped divide that up into 4 rooms. We're still trying to decide if it's best to have 4 rooms that are a little bit smaller or 3 rooms that are a little bit larger. But what that's going to allow us to do is to focus very age appropriately on 1 and 2-year-olds, 3 and 4-year-olds, 5 and 6-year-olds, and then have a junior primary section that is totally dedicated to them. So where all primary school kids are in Kids Church at the moment, that'll be junior primary kids. Where the tots are at the moment, that'll be our senior primary kids. So it'll be targeted towards 11 and 12-year-olds, maybe even 13. Right now, a 12-year-old is trying to decide, do I hang around with 7-year-olds or do I go hang out with the old people in that hall, you know? So we're wanting to create as much opportunity to reach as many people as effectively as possible. And by reaching children, we're doing what we believe God has called us to do, which is to reach the generations. But even beyond that, it is also helping us reach families. And I think to reach a family will ultimately make the biggest difference in a child's life. We're very aware of the limits that we have for an hour once a week. If we can be helping love and serve and equip families and parents, the future is a bit of in the best way possible, is a blank slate. There's just so much potential. And so that is the primary focus of the vision offering. And so simply to give you a little bit of background, we've just chosen to record a couple of different brief testimonies of people that have either come to church as a child or in 1 or 2 cases were even born into our church. And we're going to have someone leading a song item later on that was quite literally born in our church and has spent her whole 12 years in our church. And so we just want to give you a picture of a generational God and the roles that we can play, because not everyone can do the same thing, just to be clear. But what we are a part of is much bigger than the part we play. And so whether it's through helping serve in a different area, or whether it's giving financially, or whether it's actually leading in a particular context with our next gen ministries, whether it's on a Friday or a Sunday, we can play a role. But I want you to listen out for some of the different recurring themes, particularly where individuals have had an impact, where individuals have played a role in someone's life because it started with a program, but it went beyond that. So relax, pay attention to the screens, and listen up to the testimonies, please.
I am 20 years old now, and I started serving in Kids Crew at the age of 11. After Kids Crew, I became a leader when I was in grade 7. And I've been in the church for 8 years now. Right now, I currently serve in Kids Church, and I serve in Tots and Kids Crew. When I came to Kids Church, I was about 12 years old. But before that, I remember when they used to come over to the park in Phoenix, and I think I was 9 years old, and every time they would have like a park set up and we'd learn about God and they'd preach. But I never knew where the church was, and I wasn't old enough to go and find the church. And then one time, a friend of mine invited me over to church, and I was like, let me give it a try. So then when I came over, I was like, oh, these are the same people that used to come at the park, and I was so excited. So then I got connected, and that's how I came to the church. And I remember Carrie Lynn just being very welcoming and really amazing. And she remembered me from the park, and that was a really beautiful experience to get recognized by a leader. And ever since then, I just started serving. I am motivated to serve the next generation because I feel like there is a big need, and not just the next generation. I'm motivated to serve every age, so from tots to grade 5 and in high school, because I was also served that way. Like when Carrie Lynn became my leader, she changed my life, and she helped me learn more about God, and she helped me recognize Him in my life. And that's how I want to give back to other kids and to the less privileged kids and to kids that do not know much about God and do not have anybody to guide them to God. So that's why I've started serving every generation. What I enjoy most about serving the next generation is actually 3 things, because I serve different ages. So in Tots, what I enjoy most is just seeing the little kids worship, and they're too young to know God, but you can see that they can feel His presence, and they can see it from the leaders showing them that God is here. That's one of the best things I've loved. And just a quick highlight lately, we had a small boy in Tots. We did not know he was deaf and he couldn't speak, but he was just surrounded by little kids worshiping, and he just raised his hands to worship God. Like, he couldn't hear the music, he couldn't understand anything, but he just saw the atmosphere, and that was a really beautiful experience, and that just shows that God is present. And then in kids' church, they are old enough and they do know who God is, but it's just the little things that they ask you about, like, how can I be more helpful to other people? How can God guide me to be more helpful to other people? It just shows that they do want to learn more about God, and that's just really amazing to me. And at Nova Youth, I think it's just that high schoolers, you were once in high school, and these high school kids are asking you, and you have experience, and you get to lead them to a better life in high school, and you get to teach them how to live a Christ-centered life in high school, and you know what they've experienced.
I love to thank you, the legacy learners, because they help my kids a lot. They used to not know how to read and write, but now there's a lot of big difference to my kids. They are so confident to read and write, even in front of us at home when they're reading their Bible stories. So I'm so happy. I'm so excited for this program. There's no need for me to be there when they do the homework as well. They can read and write everything now. The experience, the first they doesn't know how to spell, but now they can spell now, the words. Me too, I was struggling to help them, but I thank God for the program. I thank God for the program, most especially to Joshua. The behavior was very bad, but now I see a lot of difference to Joshua. Thank God for you guys. Do a lot with the many kids. So I'm so free now. I used to be so stressed about Joshua, but now I'm so free. I'm free, really. Thank you.
I know if I've had a bad day from school, or I had a fight with someone, I know Ruel or Cassidy will be by the door and they'll make my day better, or Boki will be by the door. And I know if like something has happened, they would ask, like, your mood is not right today, what happened? And I'll be able to explain, because I know they'll understand and they'll hear me out and come out with a solution that comes, yeah. Especially with reading. Reading, I love reading, but I tend to lose it at times. So even reading in front of people, it helped, because I don't like reading in front of people. And I've said to one of my coaches, and I've said, I don't like reading. And they said, like, okay, now we're going to constantly read, because you must get better at it. And I'm getting better at it. Even in class, I want to read, because at church they've taught me to read, and it's becoming something I'm being confident in. Being in class and other kids being teased, it's not always nice to hear, okay, my friend is being teased because they cannot read or they cannot write something, or something like that. And now I know I can, my friends would say, okay, can you read for me this part? And I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll read it for you, because I also know how to read, and I don't want them to be teased, or either me.
Hi, my name is Sylvester. So how I came about, like coming to Kids Church, was back in 2011, 2012. Yes, that's when I started to join Kids Church. It was from like the outreach that was happening at that time, where Andrea, Jason, not Jason, Pastor Jason, no, the other Jason. Yes. So they were like doing the outreach on Fridays. They would go to Joe Slovo in the afternoon. And then on Saturdays, they would go to Phoenix in the morning. So that time, I would go to the afternoon, get to like cram the questions so that I can like go to the Phoenix one and answer the questions like I knew them, which was like really nice. So like what really like got me to going, it was just like getting to know Jesus more, and how like the fun way of like doing it. And that's how I came about like going to Kids Church. And then I started serving as a junior leader there, and then now I'm a leader serving at Kids Church, just like also bring about helping those that are from the township as well, just to understand more about Jesus. And especially like we have kids that actually don't like hardly know English, so having to translate at them for them sometimes just helps, like, get them to engage more and just feel freely to express themselves as well. So yeah. What has been like really like impactful is that seeing the kids or the youth come to you asking you to actually like pray for them for certain things, that for me kind of like shows how actually they trust us, they have faith in us to actually just be in their lives as well, not just only as their leaders but as a brother, as their guardian. Because some of these kids that we expect, they come from a family where they don't really have a relationship with them, and having to actually have that relationship built here in church is just so encouraging, and just keeps you as a leader wanting to grow more, wanting you to do more, not just when you have like that extra time, but actually being willing to make that extra time and go an extra mile for them. It's just really encouraging. Yes, I think Andrea did that for me. Like, she was that one person that I would actually like go to when she was still here. She's now doing the ministry in Zambia, which is also awesome. But yeah, she's been like the mother that you'd go to when you need like an extra pencil or whatever. She would just be there, like willing, with a smile, with her, energetic character. She was just so amazing.
Hi everyone, I'm Kaylee. I was about 13 years old when I came to Legacy Church, and I was like, my life in Kids Church was very powerful because my small group leader was Kaylee, and she told me more about God, who God was to her, and how God impacted her life. And she wanted the same for me. That stood out to me and told me that, okay, I have to be the next preacher for these kids' lives and to be the next generation and next healer to each and everyone. Raisa, Roal, Luna, Trish, they were the people that mentored me, and they're the people that shows love to me. They're the people that gives me courage and not discourage me. So like that tells me a lot who I am and who they show my identity. Because like sometimes people like putting me down and like putting me down, like telling me that my identity is not who I am, but they like tell me that you are loved by God and God sees what you do, and your God and God's works are more powerful than the people that's discouraging you. I serve at Kids Church in Nova Junior. What motivates me in serving in Kids Church, just seeing how the kids grow in God, seeing how they're taking the next step further, and seeing how they believe that, okay, God is alive, that as in Novo, as I serve in Novo, Like I believe that that I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for the people outside, as like we're wanting to bring people into the church, showing them love and showing them how God has put into me to share out to more people around the world that we are here to change people's lives. Yeah, we are here to be the difference of people's lives, not to judge people's lives, because God called us, come as you are, you'll be a difference in his eyes. I'm in Edison High School. I'm in grade 9. And what I do in my school is like every second break, we have a moment with God. Like I'm the preacher, I'm the leader, I do all the things I'm supposed to do. So like I have one of my teachers, Mrs. Smith, that encouraged me to lead the team myself. And I'm like, okay, it's not that difficult because God calls us not to be difficult, because if we believe in God, it's not going to be that heavy, because like our burdens to God, it's light. So what I do in our school, I like pray for our school, I pray for our teachers, because like our teachers are actually going through a lot this time, and that it's exam time now, and like we're trying to believe, and like each and every class they call me to pray for each and every one. So I'm grateful that God has that power in my life.
Hi, my name's Bella. I'm 16 years old.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm 14 years old.
Well, Rachel and I, we kind of like our parents have been coming to the church like before were born, so we were kind of just born like into the church. Yeah.
Our experience growing up was really good. We built lots of relationships and we've built a good community of people, yeah.
Always like I started in like the Tiny Tots area, grew up into kids church. I've always loved it. I've always had many friends there. I've loved my leaders throughout the years, and yeah.
Yeah, I also had a great experience. It was so much fun helping and being a leader and like learning from other people and growing, and yeah.
For me, it was mainly Zoe. Raisa was also there most of the time. If I ever needed anyone, Raisa was the first person I'd go to. And Zoe, she has been my leader for many, many years now in Kids Church and now in Nova. I always tell her that she will always be my leader up to grade 12. I don't care what they say. So yeah, if I'm ever going through anything, she's the first person I go talk to.
Yeah, for me it's Zoe and Jade. Zoe has been there since I was very young and always helped me through anything. I can trust with anything. And Jade has helped me like to grow a lot in serving and being a better leader.
I serve 8:45 services on like every morning. Well, not every morning, every second morning for Kids Church. I love it. I love our team. I love working with the kids. It took me a while to get into the going onto stage and finally opening up a bit more. Tammy and Raquel have helped me a lot with that. Always like putting me on the spot. Okay, like you're doing worship now, you're doing intro, or like welcome. So it's taken a few steps to get to the point where I am now, but I'm glad that they put me out there. Yeah, so it's a good journey.
Yeah, I serve in TOT in the morning and then on Fridays at Nova Junior. And the kids just make me so happy, and we get to have so much fun and build of energy and play games and also like teach them about God and see how happy they are to learn about it. Makes me very happy and like more excited to serve and lead them.
Well, throughout serving, I've seen a lot of the young kids just like opening their eyes. I've had like 2 or 3 kids come to me who are just like, thank you so much for like being my leader and just for helping me see God in like your eyes and just in a better way. I've invited many friends to youth this year as well. 3 of them that I can remember right now have changed their lives like completely, and I'm just so happy to see that in them. Like I can see the change, and it makes me feel like really happy for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen lots of people, lots of girls and guys in my small groups that have stepped out serving on Kids Crew, and I've invited lots of friends to youth, and on Sundays I have my one friend that serves with us in TOTS, and it's lovely to see how much she's grown and all the time she invests into the kids.
Well, at school, I have quite a big friend group. In the beginning of the year, not everyone of them were Christian, or they were like, okay, we know God, but we're not that close. So a few of us, well, the three of us were like, okay, well, let's invite them. I mean, it's not gonna hurt, So they decided, okay, yeah, fine, we'll come. So they joined us, and they had the time of their lives. Like the first night that they were here in worship, tears streaming down their faces, and it was just so amazing to see them actually like open up and choose God. Then we invited the next one, and she did the exact same thing, and it just was so like heartwarming, and it so continued. So I've invited well, not just me, but part of the friend group, we've invited about 4 or 5 people now, and all of them have decided to choose him.
Yeah, for me, like inviting people and just like wanting those seeds to be planted inside of them so they can grow, and like keep inviting them back so they can like grow more. And I've seen it with lots of my friends when they come and during worship as well, like tears streaming down their face, and they like change their whole life completely. And you can just see them like so happy and like more joyful than what they were.
I just think that the community here, I think it's all the young kids when they come together, it's such a different energy. Everybody comes together, like during worship, like it's unity, it's not just individual. Everyone prays over everyone, and it's just such a welcoming, warm feeling.
Yeah, I feel like it's very inviting, and when you come, you're like very welcomed, and everyone you see is smiling, having fun, and you can just be around people and be happy when you come here.
I was about 7, 8 years old when I first joined the church, and my experience has honestly been so amazing. I found people to call family, and I have lifelong friends because of this church.
I was about 4 or 5. I don't know how old I was because it's been a long time, but I've been at Legacy for a very long time, and I really can't remember my Kids Church years because it's a very long time. But it's been very life-giving, and just the leaders that have invested in my life, like I can't even explain like how much time and love and joy they just put into me, and I just want to give it back out there. So yeah.
So I was a little bit older. I was like 11 years old when I first came to View Church. It was View Church then. I literally remember my first day. I think I came in there, new experience, whatever, and then I remember seeing my bully. Funny enough, I saw my bully, the guy, and I think that day it actually punched me in the face or something, and actually it was Ruben, funny enough. And so it was a very weird first experience, but for all of you that know me and Ruben actually became good friends after that. But like that was my first initial experience of Kids Church, seeing my bullies. That was amazing. But over the years, it's just been super great. Having even served in Kids Church as well, it was super, super incredible.
I actually have 4 leaders, yes. Kids Church leader was Racer, and then I had 3 youth leaders, Jesse Eden, Jade Milligan, and Alia Mokhotsi. And honestly, they were just amazing leaders. They helped me in ways that other people couldn't help me in. And honestly, they loved everyone the same, and they gave everyone the same amount of time. They spent time with everyone, growing everyone. And honestly, I don't have a favorite between all of them, but they were all my favorites. God knows, yes.
Like one of the ones that I've actually picked out was Jade, Orion, and Racer. Jade, amazing human being, just always loving, giving her time, just making sure that you are seen. And I remember I always have bad days, and I always tell Jade like, yo, I'm going through a horrible time right now, and I don't know how to word it. And then I'm like, I feel like I need a drive. Jade immediately takes the keys and she's like, hey man, Sunday we're going for a drive. And I'm just like, I don't think anybody else would do this for me except for Jade, just giving her time. And Ryan, what an unexplainable man. He's always just loving, even though sometimes he is a mean person. We'll accept his meanness, but in his meanness, he's still trying to be there for you, still trying to love you, still trying to make sure you're being loved, and just giving time. And Racer, another beautiful, amazing human being, just what an unexplainable leader, what an unexplainable youth pastor. She has honestly changed many lives, and I think mine is literally a testimony. Every single Friday I come to youth and I'm ready to sit there and listen to a message. It just touches my heart, and just seeing other teens being able to experience God is just like, other teens get to experience what I've experienced, and I just really hope that Racer can just continue doing what she does. So yeah.
For me, it has to be like, it's only ever been like Jason DeToy. Like, he's been so incredible. I think even thinking back to the past where we didn't even have a youth, he would drive us to View City Table View every single week on Friday, and it was super incredible. Like, I remember even just being with, I think we went to this time where we went to the beach, whatever, and he took us there. He bought us Roman's pizza. He knows how much I love food. And remember, we just sat and just spoke whilst eating pizza, talking about how many different flavors of pizza he actually likes, but like how he enjoyed just being with us. I remember he probably got given some of the most rowdiest of kids. It was me, Ruben, and I think Drayden as well. Like, we were all there, and just the time that he used to take to break down scripture for us, how he used to just be involved in our life. Like, he was pretty old back then. Now he's younger, but he was pretty old back then. But like, just knowing how such an old person still so engaged in us, who wants to get so involved with us, and who's actually interested in our story, was pretty incredible. So he's like one of my favorite leaders, and probably the reason why I'm still even in church is because of him, because of what he sowed into us, the values he taught us back then. So I'm really grateful to Jason DeToy.
For me, it's Jade, because whenever you're alone, she's always there with us, and like if you're crying, she's just there to support you.
I actually serve in Kids Church, Novo Junior, and Novo. And what motivates me to serve, I think it would have to be the way that my leaders made me feel when I was in Kids Church and when I was in youth. They made, they were safe. They were a safe place for me. And just the way they would give me time and love on me. 100% when I was in Kids Church, I was like, that is something that I want to do. I want to become a Kids Church leader for kids to also feel like I can be a safe place for them, and that I can give them love and time. And so my leaders, because of them, I am now serving because of what, the way they made me feel.
What motivates me? I think it definitely has to attribute a lot of it to Jason DeToy. I feel like because he was there for me, I want to be there for the younger generation the same way he was there for me. And just seeing what he used to do for us, I want to do the same thing for them, because I feel like we're in a generation right now where things are so lost, people are so gone, like the young adults, the young teens, even the children, like they're so far gone. And what better more to have like a strong pillar, and I want to be one of those strong pillars in their lives, especially in the areas that we're around. So that's what motivates me, knowing that I can be that doorway to change. I can help the generation come closer to Jesus, the same way that Jason DeToy helped me come closer to Jesus. So that's what motivates me to stay here. And I think I forgot to mention, I'm in Kids Church. I'm in Novo. And production as well.
Hi, my name is Natasha, and I serve at kids in the kids ministry, TOTS area. I go by the name Mamaka Junior, Mamaka Nathaniel, coach and teacher. So the reason I serve, it started when Junior was about, my son Junior, Nathaniel Junior, he was about 3 years old, and I had to teach myself how to rear Junior, and I did some research on his milestones, and I figured out that what was most important was that age. It was the most important time of child development, and knowing that, I realized that at one of the kids' meetings, they had a day of inviting people to serve at kids ministry, and the area that they needed a leader in was tots at the same age as Nathaniel Jr. And I thought it was an opportunity that God presented where I could apply what I've been taught through the various resources that helped me rear Junior at that same age. The groups run from 18 months till about 6 years old. And it was such an amazing opportunity to create an environment where kids can develop a relationship with God, develop friendships with kids in kids' church, and live a life based off the truth, the Word of God. In TOTS, we have a section we cover. It's called small groups, where we have we're very proactive with the kids, asking them questions about the big idea. Say the big idea is to be brave in confusing times. We apply the big idea and use scenarios where kids are. We assist kids to apply the big idea in a scenario in church, and then they have the opportunity to take it to use it at home, where in school or at the playground or at home. So I've seen kids answer like I've never been able to answer as an adult. So they are very smart kids, and they take in information. That is why it's very important for us to create an environment for them where they are able to experience God. Outside of TOTS, I am a soccer mom, and then I've got about 15 to 20 kids that help me in TOTS. They are ages 8 till 12. So what we do is, on a regular basis, or once or twice a week, we do a sunset fun day, where we just go outside and take in some fresh air and just be out. The kids are able to just be kids outside of church, outside of home, and we get to speak about God, what's going on in their lives. But it's very open, so we ask simple questions like, was there any bad thing that might have happened today in your day? Was there any good that happened in your day? And that's how we open up the conversation, and that's how I have learned to build relationships with these kids.
If you've been with us for most of this year, you'll know that passage of scripture on the wall there has been our key passage throughout the year. Our theme has been even more, but I want to just sort of emphasize the beginning part and the last part, where it talks, and we'll have it on the screens, where it says, now all glory to God. And then further down it says, in the church, in Christ Jesus, through all generations. Through all generations. It is God's desire, it is God's plan that he receives glory through all generations. He is a generational God. And I think of one particular group in our church that I think is, there's more than one, but this one in particular might emphasize this idea of generational more than any other, where they are literally, in this particular group, life group, great grandparents, and then there's a brand new parent of a baby, and everything in between. And I just think that that's a picture of what the church is meant to be. The church is never all that it's meant to be. I'm just here to apologize and acknowledge that the church, capital C church, is never all that it's meant to be. This side of eternity, we get things wrong. In fact, Sue and I met someone on Friday. We were talking with her, and she was explaining an experience that she had 5 years ago in church, and she was actually getting teary like 5 years later. That's how disappointed and frustrated she was. So the church, not our church, but a church. The church does get stuff wrong, but that doesn't change what God's dream is, what God's ideal is. And I wish I could emphasize and articulate this better than I'm able to right now, but I am convinced to my bones that it is God's will that the church and local churches like this are made up of great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, children, babies, toddlers, etc. People, it's never just meant to be a young church or an old church or a middle-aged church. A middle-aged church will become an old church if it's not reaching the next generation. And a church that disregards and discredits the value and the wisdom and the experience of the older generations will be short-lived as well. It is God's will that the church be generational. And in that context, it does mean that we try and consider one another according to levels of maturity. If you are a parent, you'll know that the music that you listen to at home changed, or the stuff that you would watch in your free time changed, right? If you had daughters like me, You didn't know there was that much Barbie to go around. There were all kinds of Barbie movies. I'm like, how do they keep coming up with stories for Barbie should be dead by now. Like Barbie, I mean, anyway. But you know what? Because you love your kids, you're willing to put up with Barbie. Depending on the age of the child, if you're listening to music, chances are you're going to be. Anyway, my point being that it might not look the same. So considering a younger generation will look different to respecting and honoring an older generation. But it is God's will that we be a generational church, that He be glorified through all generations. And I just want to emphasize to you, and hopefully this even came through with just some of the stories, that this is never about a building and is never about a program. Those are things that help facilitate what God wants to do in people's lives. So you can have extra space, but if there aren't people that love Jesus and love people, you're going to be entertaining at best, or child-minding at best. So just to be clear, you might say, I'm not able to give much, but sheesh, I would love to be a Jason DeToy. I'd love to be a Jade. I'd love to be a Luna or a Cassidy or a Kerry or a Kelly or someone that was. Maybe your thought is, no one ever did that for me. That's very likely true. That doesn't mean you can't be that for someone else. But that's if that's in your heart and something that you want to do. We will never, ever, 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 God help us, ever manipulate people into serving in an area that they don't want to serve in. That'll do damage. So it's not for everybody. But I do want to say that it's for a lot of people. And it might be for you. We could go from having 2 organized environments on a Sunday to 5 or 6. Space isn't going to make that happen. People are going to make that happen. So I'm just putting it out there. Maybe this is an area that you want to get involved. And we've got more and more adults and parents that are involved. Fathers, mothers, young adults. We want all the generations there. We don't just want old people. We don't just want young people. We want everybody represented. However, let me end with this before I explain to you what we're going to do practically. I am privileged, and I mean that. I consider myself very fortunate to have between our church in Tableview and then here in Milnerton, and some of you know the history, how that morphed. I've had the privilege of working in the same community for 28 years. And not a lot of pastors have that. I was 12 when I started. Not a lot of pastors have it. But what that means is that I've gotten to see kids in kids' church that became young leaders in kids' church, that became leaders in kids' church, that became leaders at school, that became leaders in the community and leaders in church, and that became mothers and fathers and husbands and wives and teachers. And I've got to tell you, there's a lot that if you look at it could be discouraging. I have the privilege of sticking around long enough to see enough that is deeply encouraging. I love seeing people on stage that have been here since they were born. I love seeing Dino and Sharice, who are overseeing in worship, who I've known since, now they've got their own kids, and Dino's in his 40s. I met them as young teenagers. Sharice was on our board. I love getting to see the progression. And so what I'm trying to say is, it's not child-minding. We're trying to raise a generation. We're trying to raise the next teachers, raise the next business owners, raise the next employees, raise the next participants that are contributing to society and making a difference in society. I have no hesitation in telling you that anything that you're investing in this context is going towards investing into the future. That's why even our little tagline for this vision offering has been Sure, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm having a senior moment. Building tomorrow, today.